Hey folks, back again. Man, I really need to vlog today. It's one of those days where I gotta get things off my chest and kind of clear the air, because essentially what's been happening lately, ever since my last video, I've just been essentially playing with fire. And it's like, rationally speaking, logically speaking, it's not a good idea, and I shouldn't be doing that. But there's that part of me that is the addicted brain, and I've been feeling lots and lots of boredom. The anxiety has kind of gone down to a certain extent, if at least as far as work has been concerned, or sleep deprivation has been concerned. But other things cause anxiety, relationship stuff with the girlfriend, and classes starting soon, trying to get registered for all that stuff. Trying to prepare so that I don't fail again, I don't get myself kicked out of the program, facing those kind of potential consequences, and just trying not to, slip up a year later and end up back in PMO addict mode. Because that was one of the main things that contributed to me failing my classes last fall, and as a result, ending up on probation. And I know if that happens again, that I'm going to be out of the program period, and it may not necessarily seem like a huge thing to some folks, but as far as getting to a point in my life where I've climbed the dominance hierarchy and I'm able to support myself and that sort of thing, an engineering degree is necessary. I'm not really going to argue that with any folks, including myself. I know that's just that's just the reality of things. And how am I feeling right now? I'm feeling a lot of the effects of watching this triggering material, listening to it, that sort of deal. I have not gone to any porn sites, but I've, to a lesser degree, mimicked some of the effects, which is making me kind of angry at myself. Because I knew that this is going to happen, as a result of these sorts of activities, listening to erotic hypnosis, or watching edited out clips from, movies that I know are pornographic movies, but they edit out the quote-unquote really juicy parts, so to speak, and put in the stuff that they can slip by, YouTube filtering protocols. Combination of that and just like laying about in my bed and fantasizing, and it's just in the moment you get that rush. Same thing with pornography, same thing with fapping, same thing with relapsing. You get that rush, but then afterwards it's all the negative effects, and it really is a drug. It really is a problem. But I've gone back into that, and I have like a week until my classes start, so somehow I gotta like clear all that crud out of my system, at least enough that I gotta really get strict and going back in full bore hard mode. Not like 0.5 hard mode, or 50% hard mode, or 75% hard mode, but just completely there, because if I go into school in this state, it's the distracted state. It's sort of the state where you realize that there's this thing called PMO out there that gives you such a rush, gives you such a return, gives you such instant gratification, that things like studying, doing your homework, taking notes, making your equation sheet, your formula sheet for your exam, going to office hours and actually looking the professor in the face and asking them questions about the material, working out, even talking to people, socializing. That all that stuff doesn't in a sense compare to the rush and the release and the instant gratification of PMO. And I can't be in that state. We can't be in that state of mind if we're going to be ever accomplishing anything in our lives. I don't think I need to give reasons why. It's kind of obvious, you get that feeling of, in the case of PMO, being at the top of the dominance hierarchy, where you can have, 300 of the hottest women and, pick which one you want to be with and that sort of deal, and, reject the ones you don't like because, you're the top dog and all that kind of stuff, without having to go through all the hard work, without having to get the STEM degree and get that STEM career, STEM job. You land your first engineering job, let's say, rise up to the corporate hierarchy, get to that 6-figure or 7 or 8-figure income bracket, work out, lose that fat, get that muscle, build up your VO2 max, build up your the amount of weight you can lift, things of that nature. You don't have to go do that in a sense. You can simulate having already reached the peak, so to speak, which means that the peak keeps on going up and up and up, and you have escalation. Nothing's ever really good enough. You have to get that new high, and we all know the damaging effects. But it's almost like, I don't know. It's almost like it's like a one-way glass window, and you're looking at it, and what's being reflected back to you is all the good, the supposed good of it, of PMO, of the feeling and the instant gratification, the rush, the pleasure, the release, all that kind of stuff. But on the other side, which is what's being hidden from you, until you actually go around, the glass wall and end up in that room filled with all the negative, effects. What's being hidden from you is all the depression, the anxiety, the scatterbrained, your mind's in 1,000 different directions. You're stressed out. You're maybe even feeling physical pain, chest pains or groin pain, things of that nature, muscle pain. All this stuff's being hidden behind that wall. And one of the things with Nofap for me is, as I've gotten further along this path, I have really started to forget. I started to forget the pain that got me on the path to begin with, and to a certain extent, that pain is necessary. That's that initial motivation. That's the addiction getting to the point where the pleasure you were getting from it is outweighed by the pain, and you finally kind of snap to, and you're like, this is it, never again. I'm quitting right now. And I found that's gotten me through like maybe 2 or 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks if I was kind of lucky, I guess you could say. But after that month, and you start forgetting really like the the negatives of it all, and start thinking, well, one time's not going to be that bad, right? And it is. It is bad. It is, terrible. This is a problem for us. PMO is our problem. It's our source of our addiction, or it's or rather, it's the thing that sets this addiction apart. It's not a substance addiction; it's a behavioral addiction. I guess you could say it is a substance addiction insofar as we're addicted to dopamine and delta phosphate and all that. But where am I going with this? I'm kind of rambling, but so I'm kind of like, I guess you could say I'm talking myself through this. But given that I do like to have these vlogs have some sort of structure, I'm kind of remembering some of the other stuff I wanted to talk about. Now, I know I've mentioned the term dominance hierarchy multiple times. I may put a link in with Jordan Peterson's talk about that sort of stuff, but I've kind of updated you folks on where I'm at. It's like day 190 something or other. I have not gone back to the important sites or fapped, but I've been kind of teasing myself and going at triggering material. But other than just a general update, and since I've said that I've mentioned the term dominance hierarchy again and again and again, and given that my Nofap journey, the way it's succeeded the most has been when I've confronted underlying issues I've had. given that the PMO addiction is a mask for other things, it's kind of like a person who has a drinking problem, like my mother. There's underlying problems, there's deep-seated issues, there's kind of, personal demons hidden under all that that's causing the havoc, that's causing the pain. And it's part of yourself crying out to have the pain, contended with or fixed or, removed or ended. And another party jumping into action as a firefighter, using, in this case, porn, or in other cases, things like alcohol or drugs to put out the fire, to, get rid of the pain, at least temporarily. And I have talked in the past about underlying issues with, having to do with dating and relationships and rejection and male-female intergender dynamics and that sort of deal, in terms of relationships. But I think a less edifying underlying issue I have is that, with this whole dominant hierarchy idea, I spent a lot of my life trying to pretend like that didn't exist, that I was beyond all that, alpha, beta, zeta, whatever, that I was already a zeta male or what have you, and I was outside the hierarchy. And that's caused a lot of anguish, within my life, within myself in reality. And I think that's another reason why PMO became such a big, draw for me, because I could try to pretend like the desire to have sexual relations with a woman didn't exist, that I was beyond that I was above that I was outside the hierarchy, and I saw all these other guys, competing to try to get in some girls' pants, and them going on about how sexually frustrated they were, and, how anxious and depressed they were about that, and they had some breakup, or, their girlfriend was cheating on them, or something like that. That didn't affect me, that I wasn't a part of that. And having gone through some seriously traumatic experiences with women, the ones that I liked, and, having realized this whole deal with the dominance hierarchy and how you need to strive to be in the top 20% if you want, hypergamy to work in your favor, wherein women either pair across or up. I've come to realize that I have not been climbing the dominance hierarchy. And PMO became a way for me to avoid the struggles of climbing the dominance hierarchy. Because it's a struggle. It has its ups and it has its downs. And I've had the experience of having my status in that hierarchy rise up, and suddenly, I'm getting all this attention from different females and seeing sort of a night and day, change to it. But PMO is always there to cover up the other underlying issue, the struggle, the negatives, the failures, the frustration with not being, where there was something I had to be born into or be granted or, fortunate to shine upon me. Not being automatically in that top 20%, having to work to get to that top 20% where I could pick or choose between different girls, and I could be one of those top dogs, in the dog pack, so to speak. And that's been a great source of pain for me. And I know I'm not alone in this, it's not like I'm just the only guy here who's ever gotten rejected, ever seen some other guy who maybe, you consider to be a loser, getting all the ladies because he's got the looks, or he's got the money, or he's got the connections, or he's got this or that, the status, whatever, and he can kind of pick or choose between this girl, that girl, and he gets to nab the girl that, you want to be with, and having to deal with that kind of like, that feeling of being this utter loser, this reject, undesirable, a genetic mistake, destined to win the Darwin Award, so to speak. Myself eliminating yourself out of the gene pool. Heck, already having been eliminated out of the gene pool by the mere fact of being who you are with your traits and your background and so on. And, like I said, I use PMO to avoid that. times I would also use cardio to burn that off, but PMO was always the quote-unquote superior way of getting rid of those negative feelings, And I'm at that point, 30, where in the next 5 to 10 years, I could see some real significant changes in my life in the positive sense. I could graduate from college, maybe go on do a master's, get into the industry, do something like that. Be making the bucks, losing, the fat off my body from working out, and finally getting all that female attention from the women I actually want to have attention from, But climbing that hierarchy is a struggle. There's all these things that it's like I feel like I have to figure out and do. And this next semester I think is going to be the deciding, phase of time, because it's going to mean me getting through the gatekeeper courses for chemical engineering, surviving that, and proving that I have the work ethic and the intelligence and the perception and the perseverance to get through that, unlike last fall. It's going to mean me being able to adapt my mindset to doing what it takes to become an engineer. It's going to mean me, instead of going back and even watching trigger material, much less relapsing the PMO, getting into a serious committed exercise routine and, cutting back on calories and losing that fat off my body. It's going to mean me also gaining social skills. I know, technically speaking, as I sit here right now, unless when I get home, I get some message saying, that the girlfriend wants to end the relationship or something like that, which I do have generalized anxiety about, given that, I've had past experiences, and there's been stuff going on with her and her sister getting married, and it really kind of messing with her head right now, but just the whole idea of having the, pick up the crop, so to speak, as far as, a girlfriend, fiance, wife, including her, wherever that ends up going, I have to have those social skills. And there's going to be that challenge of those social skills, and it's also going to be the challenge of getting myself to move past certain psychological barriers I've set up in my mind as far as interacting with women is concerned, and having the courage and the confidence to move past being shy and withdrawn, because I've gotten used to that state of being, getting rejected so many dang times, you just kind of get tired of the whole process, and you just kind of focus on other things. You pick up solitary habits, and not just the fapping, but you get into reading lots of books and listening to music, and maybe even working out, but just doing all these things that don't require someone else there to, it's like no playing handball, no throwing a baseball back and forth because there's nobody else there. You have to learn to play solitaire on your own. You gotta learn to shoot hoops on your own, that sort of deal. And I got into that kind of state of mind where when an opportunity does come along, even if it's with my girlfriend, she wants to, kiss, hold hands, cuddle, that sort of thing, like, I'll still have that sort of reservation, that reserved nature, that shyness there. And that's like the other main thing I'll have to be working on. But all these things I will have to figure out, because I have to resolve these, issues, these problems, these challenges, in order to actually climb the dominance hierarchy, in order to be honest with myself and actually make that effort, instead of pretending like, I'm some great guy already, and why is it that these girls don't want to be with me, and, they're sluts and whores and, jag-offs and all that kind of stuff, I'm being resentful and angry at them and frustrated and that sort of deal, and then wanting to turn to PMO because in PMO land I can pretend like I've already won the game, So, it really is time to start truly climbing that dominance hierarchy and working on myself. That's the other underlying issue. That's the less edifying one, because the other ones that I've talked about in the past, which it's been a while since I've covered those, but those ones were, bad thing happened to me because person X did thus and such thing to me, and this is how I felt, and now I'm finally processing those emotions. But this one is more of a me being honest with myself underlying issue where, I have to admit that I wasn't doing the work. I was trying to pretend like I was beyond all that, and I didn't have to, and, um, I would be that guy who was outside the system, and, nothing could touch me, and, especially frustrated. What does that mean? I'm not like that. I am so, monkish, or Zen, or Sufi, or whatever you want to call it. I'm so above all that sort of stuff. But then in my private time, there I am sitting in front of a computer screen watching other people have sex and jerking off to that, It's just like this whole facade that I'm having to tear down and confront, what's behind all that sort of stuff. I'm a human being. I have a, sexual side. I have a sexuality. I'm a heterosexual male. I'm attracted to women. And, I want to have sex with them, But there are certain caveats to that, which are kind of like where my rational side comes in and says, you don't just want to dive into bed with any woman, even if you're at that level where you could do that kind of stuff, even if you were that top dog. And that's sort of a conflict, there. But, really that's kind of putting the cart before the horse, saying that, well, I'm going to, pretend like I have all these women to choose from, and I'm going to start rejecting these ones, and all these ones aren't good enough for me, or what have you. Like, I'm not even at the top of the hierarchy yet. I haven't even really done that work. And I suppose it's kind of a comforting, defense mechanism to go into, or psychological mechanism where I can pretend like I'm already there, and I'm rejecting this girl and that girl, and she's not good enough, and, it doesn't matter because, she's a slut or whatever. But ultimately, instead of turning to PMO, I've got to turn the corner and make the effort and do what's necessary to climb that hierarchy. So, anywho, thanks for watching, folks, and I'll see you around. Bye.